So when you're trying to like solve someone's problem or listen to someone, this is a good model to follow. First is obviously active listening, right? So you're nodding with your body language and so on and so forth. You're repeating to them what they have said to make sure that you have understood the problem that they're trying to solve. Are they trying to solve a problem? Do they want a solution, or do they just want you to listen to them? If they just want to listen to be heard, so that could be one option, right? Again, if you can do it without burning out. And then you want to show them that, look, you're not judging them. You understand the challenge of the situation. And you also understand that you may not be fully able to understand the challenge that they're facing through. And you want to show them trust and hope. And then after that, you get into the empowerment phase, which is discussing what are some of the solutions, some of the options to overcome the challenges that they are facing. And this may be something that you and your mentee can discuss among yourself, or you may have to involve professional help, or you may have to ask them to go and speak to a professional, depending on the situation. So we talked about coach and whatnot, right? In terms of setting goals, motivating them, challenging them, discussing obstacles, discussing options for them to work through and overcome. So when it comes to empowerment, so here's what we can do. So let's say we'll take a look at some examples in a second, but let's say if they are trying to overcome a situation, let's try to enumerate all the different options that they have available to them, what they can do about it, right? What are some of the steps that they can take? Just right, they can come up with options. You can give them options. You can also ask in your coaching group with other coaches and then see if they have some other options. Obviously, some of the resources that we have shared with you, we have also compiled a lot of options based on a lot of common scenarios. Then you want to do a pros and cons of the different options, right? What is likely to be successful? What's the pros and cons of every option, and so on and so forth. You want to focus on the greater good and minimize the evil, the harm, and then let them decide. You're not going to decide for them. The decision is theirs. So here's a case study, right? So something for you to think about. So, someone accepted Islam 6 months ago. They haven't informed their parents about this new way of life. Okay. And now this is causing them grief. And they're like, you know what? I don't know what I should do, right? I find it hard. I have to live a double life. I'm hiding my prayers. I'm not able to pray. What should I do about this, right? So how would you deal with this sort of scenario? So I would like you to think about that. Maybe later on in the Q&A section, we can talk about it if we have time. And also one of the resources that we have about this is mentioned in that New Muslim Success Manual, where we have addressed this thing because it's a very common question. However, when you're having that conversation, you want to make sure that you're following this thing: active listening, empathy, trust, and hope. And then you are going to suggest some solutions, ask them for solution, and then see what they can actually work with. Case 2. So why are my parents not guided, right? He finds it very difficult that when his parents will die, he won't be able to make dua for them. And each time he thinks about it, he feels very depressed. How will you handle that situation? So again, from a tools perspective, without going into specific thing, you want to utilize those 3 techniques we talked about. And if you don't feel comfortable, you can say, you know what, let me think about it. Let me ask in my group, because we have other coaches. I'm sure they have dealt with similar situation. Let me also get some options and opinions from them, and I can follow up with you next week, right? That's something at the very basic anyone and everyone can do. Case 3, I don't know if I shall tell you this, but I've done so many bad things in the past, and there are still many sins I find really difficult to stop. Okay, similar sort of conversation. We talked a brief about how to deal with those situations earlier, about atomic habits, doing more good deeds and whatnot. So those could be some of the resources that you can have in your bag when it comes to enumerating options. So these are some of the scenarios that, again, if you want to do further development, we have listed some training links in that manual at the bottom under advanced training or optional training and so on and so forth. And, now call to action is to, utilize what you have learned, right? If you need to go through it again, watch the recordings, do the practice conversation, do a dialogue in your head, actually say it out so you feel confident about it. And, we have a WhatsApp group for coaches. So if I have new resource, something new that comes out, I usually put it in the coaches group. So it's just like you can click on this link and join the group. And then we have also a group for converts. So either the converts can directly join in or the coaches can join it. And when we share new content that's relevant for converts, they can then pass it around to the converts. Okay, so we have these FIC Q&A playlists. We also have this document which has captured a lot of FIC related Q&A. Personal development I already talked about. Yeah, so that's basically what kind of covers our training, which gives us now a good amount of time where we can discuss actual scenarios that you're struggling with, or we can discuss the 3 case studies that we discussed earlier. But you know, that kind of covers the main content that we have to train a new Muslim mentor. So now let's talk about Q&A options, struggles, what you have found to be working and whatnot.